Today we're going to be working with charcoal again. So yesterday, hopefully you had a chance to finish your value scale and your little sphere with the background. You can see my background's not quite finished. We also talked about that the supply kit comes with actually 5 different types of charcoal. So this bottom one here is the Carbon Sketch, and that is really soft and kind of squishy. Actually reminds me of something called Vine Charcoal, which you also have in your kit. And it will work well when we start working on a project for your contour lines because it feels like it's going to just like smudge and disappear. Then there's the extra soft, the medium, and the hard. I want you to kind of work in each of those a little bit in your sketchbook just to get a feel for which one feels the best for you to work with. I know that I personally prefer extra soft until I get to a finishing place where I want to put some details in, and then I'll switch to a firmer charcoal texture. But that's a personal preference on my part, and so you guys will have to kind of explore how the different charcoals feel to you, and find the one that works best for you. Today we're going to talk about blending charcoal because we talked a little bit yesterday about charcoal having some blending capabilities that pencil doesn't have. And manipulation capabilities. So in your supply kit, you have a blending stump. This is also called a tortillon. So you're going to want to find that. You have a small paintbrush, which you will want to find. And you have something called a black Factus eraser. Okay. And we're going to use each of those as a blending tool in the charcoal today. Working yesterday with just the pencil is also a blending method, obviously, because the friction of the pencil on the paper blends the white and the black charcoal together. It's just that we do and we can work with charcoal a number of different ways, and the different ways that you would blend the charcoal gives us some different like visual effects that you can need when you're making a drawing in charcoal. In Google Classroom, I have posted this photograph. We're going to be working with these down here today. We end up only needing 3 of them, so you can pick which 3 you prefer working with. They will give you practice using and controlling charcoal, but also practice using the blending methods. So I'm going to continue my work on this example to show you blending with the stump. So I'm going to start with a nice clean outline because this has a very dark background. So you can see also when I'm working with the charcoal in order to control kind of where the values are going, I am working from the inside out. You'll also see that I'm using one of the sheets of that deli paper under my hand. I'm also just leaving this in my sketchbook so that the charcoal doesn't rub off on the next page. One advantage of blending the charcoal a little bit is that it masks some of this paper texture. The paper texture is normal, like this is the right kind of paper to work with charcoal in. So it's not wrong that the paper texture shows through. Some people just don't enjoy that paper texture showing as much. And blending the charcoal a little bit can be a way to kind of mask or blend that charcoal down and into the paper texture. So you can see I worked first with the black and now I'm working with the white. And I'm going to do just like yesterday, and I'm going to let the pencil blend at first. You will find too that you have to go back and kind of crisp up your whites after blending. And I know I'm not finished, but I'm going to go ahead and show you the stump. So I'm going to take the stump and I'm going to work. I have to decide if I'm going to go from white to black or from black to white. So I'm working from white to black just because I feel like I can pull my white down further and then I won't obliterate the white. If I go from black to white, like that black is going to kind of take that white over. But you can see that it blends in any of those smaller paper texture. It does make some extra like crumbles that you'll have to brush away, but it is a smoother overall effect than yesterday's just pencil. If you find that this gets dirty, the sandpaper is the way to clean that off. I also will often just make sure I use one end only with white and one end only with black. But there you go. So I would finish that with the stump. The next one is paintbrush. The paintbrush will have a very similar effect to the stump in that it smooths out the charcoal. So for all of these, the blending you can see is an extra step. It's a step that happens past working with the charcoal and shading with the charcoal. So you do have to do the shading work first and then do the blending work. Which is why working in charcoal and soft pastel, which is what we'll get to next, always remind me a little bit more of painting because you are working in kind of consecutive layers. All right, I'm going to have to adjust some of this, but I'm going to adjust after I use my paintbrush. So here I have the little paintbrush, and you will see that just like the blending stump, this will smooth out the charcoal. It also will move charcoal, so I can move my black into my white if that's something that I need to do. I will have to reapply the white. And it does also make quite a lot of crumbles because it's pushing that charcoal out of the way. I do also have a little extra sheet of paper over here just to kind of wipe off. The extra, a tissue would work well too, kind of to clean off the paintbrush itself so that it doesn't have too much charcoal on. So I'm going to come back here now and just add a little fresh white. Because looking at my reference image, I see that the white pulls down just a little further. And I'm going to sharpen this edge up too from earlier. So it's up to me now if I decide I'm going to leave that or if I'm going to come back and I'm going to blend it down a little more. Your paintbrush could at some point also have to just be washed. But the paintbrush also will pull charcoal up. So I left this side unshaded and you can see I can pull that charcoal past where I originally drew with it and blend it up and into my white without applying more black. So that's kind of something you can experiment with too, is how far can you pull that extra charcoal up and into your drawing. I just don't want to do that too much because I don't want like my paper to feel naked. I want there to be like actual charcoal on my sheet. So I don't want, it is possible to over blend and then feel like you've rubbed all the charcoal off of your drawing. So you can see both the stump and the paintbrush have kind of a similar smoothing effect to making a charcoal drawing. Now we're going to talk about using an eraser, not to get rid of artistic product, but to draw with an art supply. So erasers will take art supplies away, but they will also move art supplies in a way that allows you to draw with them. So I'm going to apply some of my charcoal here. And the eraser in particular will move quite a bit of charcoal past where you put it. So I'm going to just go part way. I'm going to now refresh my white here. And the eraser also yields quite a bit of like a visual texture. And if overused, it too will give you kind of a naked paper effect. So over blending is definitely a risk. And you want to kind of watch out for that and go back and reapply. So I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to just use a corner. And what I'm going to do is just push that charcoal. And this leaves kind of some marks. So I do have to be thoughtful about how I'm using the eraser. So you'll notice I'm kind of working the eraser around this sphere, or it should look like a cone, I guess. So I'm making sure to use curved marks with my drawing tool just to kind of increase that sensation. I can switch now to a new edge for my white so that I'm not pulling black from the other side of the eraser into my white section, but I'm moving white in, and then I can blend the two together where they hit each other. So you can see that we end up with a very linear quality. So I can do the same thing back here in the background. And I can push, you can see the black will quickly take over. So again, an extra piece of paper to clean off an edge, or a tissue. But you can see that my eraser will leave marks in the charcoal, but it also moves the charcoal. So there is eraser blending. It also softens the charcoal, but it does also leave marks in the charcoal. That can be an interesting visual effect, but you do have to really kind of think while you're doing it, so that you're not, like if I had used straight lines on this round object in the middle, it wouldn't work visually. Like it wouldn't look three-dimensional and it wouldn't look round anymore. So you do have to be thoughtful about the way you're using the eraser to kind of move the charcoal. And this one does leave more marks in the charcoal than either the stump or the brush. So have fun experimenting today with our 3 blending techniques.